Hey guys, welcome back to Chaos Core Tech. My name's Garrett, and today we are going to add to my Plants vs. Zombies collection with the sunflower. So in order to create this model, I went into ZBrush, and I knew this would be quite a bit of a challenge, basically just because I'm so new to ZBrush. But I started by sculpting the head shape just so I kind of had a base and knew what I was working with, and then I moved to creating the petals. And once I had one petal created, I just sort of duplicated it, and then moved it around the model till I had everything in place. And I did that several times, and just created the different layers that are required for the back of the sunflower. And then I did kind of the same thing with the leaves for the feet and the back. The sort of the arm area. So once I had all the basic features, I moved to creating the face and just sort of putting things in place and moving them around until they look right to me. So after I was done modeling, I knew that printing would be an issue. I really wanted to try out my new Wanhao D7 SLA printer, but I didn't think it could even come close to printing this. I had done a couple test prints, but nothing to this level. And so I loaded it up and just sort of kicked it off overnight. It said it was going to take like 16 hours or something like that, but it ended up only taking like 8 hours. And so it was done in the morning, and I remember Chelsey came to wake me up, and she was like, "I think your print's done." I'm like, "Oh, well then it definitely failed," or something like that. But to my surprise and complete disbelief, it printed successfully and printed better than I thought it could. I had a slight issue where the petals didn't stick to the bed very well, so they kind of lifted up, and there's a little bit of weird artifacts on the feet petal area because of that, but the rest of it printed near flawlessly, and it's really amazing. It printed at 0.1 millimeter layer height, and then after washing it off in an alcohol bath, I handed it off to Chelsey for painting. And luckily she didn't have to do any sanding. She might have done just a little bit to sort of clean up the area where the supports were, but really it wasn't that bad. And then she painted most of the main colors with an airbrush, and then she used paintbrushes and just normal acrylic paints that you can find at your local hobby store to paint on all the details of the face and the freckles and the different accents on the petals. And then once she was done painting it, she hit it with a glossy clear coat to help protect the paint and improve the look overall. Well, there you have it, guys. I'm super happy with the way this came out. This is my first real print on the Wanhao D7. There are a few things that I definitely need to work on. I think mostly all of them relate to it actually sticking to the bed. But if I can get that down, I really think the Wanhao D7 will be a great little printer. I'm really excited about it. But I did want to mention something that's kind of special about this model, and I didn't even realize it until after I had already printed it and Chelsey started painting it and everything. But Plants vs. Zombies on my channel actually kind of summarizes the history of my channel pretty well. And I guess not as much the channel, but more my skill level and how it's progressed. So I'm going to run through the Plants vs. Zombies models I have so far and kind of give you a rundown of what my channel and my skill level was like at the time. Okay, so first up we have the Citron. Now, I created this just a little bit over a year ago. This guy was actually the first character that I created on the channel. Not just video game or anything like that, the actual first character that I had created. And this thing really set the tone for how my channel would evolve. This was actually my most popular video for several months, and is still in like the top 5 of my most popular videos. And I really didn't expect that, because I knew that Plants vs. Zombies didn't have a huge following, but I think that actually worked in my favor because there's not a lot of content like this out there for Plants vs. Zombies. And actually for a while when you would Google Plants vs. Zombies, a picture of this guy would be on the first page. And I thought that was pretty cool. But speaking to my skill a little bit, this was created in Tinkercad. I'm sure you can see some of the facets on the head here and the legs, because at the time Tinkercad didn't really have anything to get a perfect sphere. And that's ultimately one of the reasons I left Tinkercad. And this was by far the most difficult model I had created at this point, in Tinkercad, and I got quite a few comments on it saying that this really helped show them what Tinkercad was possible and the type of things they could do just with some simple shapes. And I actually wrote an article for Pinshape on this when I was nominated as their designer of the month. And not only the modeling skills, at this time I was still using matter control for my slicer on my Robo 3D R1. And this was actually the very first model I used supports with. I actually used to design to completely avoid supports, and I was pretty afraid to use them, but I did them on this. You know, removing them was pretty tough, but ultimately it came out really good. And this was kind of a new level of paint for my wife as well. She did an amazing job, and not only did she impress me, she impressed a lot of people who watched the video as well. So this guy was huge for the channel and really sort of paved the path that I'm still on today. So next up is Peashooter. Now this probably doesn't look very complicated, but this was sort of a big deal for me at the time. This was one of the first models that I created in Fusion 360, and this is when I really started to figure out how to put shapes together and do something a little more complex in order to create some of the organic shapes that you see here. But not only that, this was actually the very first model I printed out of Simplify 3D. Chelsey and I had just decided that the cost was worth it to try and get some better supports, because we had heard that the supports were a lot better, and we knew this one would be pretty hard to print without some decent supports. So we made the purchase, and I loaded this thing up, set it to print, and the supports came away so easy, and it really kind of changed my opinion on supports. And it was after this that I started printing with supports a lot. And I'm pretty sure this was the first model that Chelsey used her airbrush on. I could be wrong with that, but I know it was one of the very early ones. So I think this model right here was just as big of a stepping stone as Citron was. And then last, but certainly not least, we have the sunflower that I just created. Now this kind of marks where we are with the channel right now, because I created this in ZBrush, which I'm still fairly new to creating things in, and I'm pretty proud of how this actually came out, and I think it really marks where my skill is for today. I've obviously got a very long ways to go before I can consider myself, you know, a good artist at this type of stuff. But for the time being, I'm very, very happy with this. And not only that, this is printed with SLA. And if you've been watching my channels for the past 2 months, you know that SLA has been a huge thing. And I honestly don't even want to see what this thing would have looked like printed on FDM, especially all these little spiky things back here. This was all printed in one piece, and the SLA supports handled this flawlessly. And just look at the quality of the finish on there. And that is partly due to SLA and partly due to Chelsey's increased skill in this type of stuff. And I really think it shows here. So these guys obviously have a huge place in my heart and on the channel. And I just think it's pretty amazing that a lot of my big steps on this channel have kind of happened when these models were coming out. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Hopefully you found it interesting as well. Alright guys, well that's it for this video. I really hope to do more of these in the near future. I really didn't intend to space these so far apart. I don't know why. I've just got so many models that I want to do. I just keep pushing certain ones back further, and these models seem to be the biggest victim of that. They've been on my to-do list for like a year now, so I'm definitely going to get to them quite a bit sooner and start adding more. My plan is to do all of the basic ones. I'm not going to do any of the other forms of them just yet. I might do those in the future if people want that. But I'm definitely just going to start with the main plants, and then I'm going to do like the main zombies, just like their original forms, and get those going because I really want to add to that shelf back there. Well, before we put these guys back up on their shelf, I did want to mention, if you want more detail about how these were created, either the modeling or the painting, I will put links down in the description. One to the video so you can watch the Citron or the Peashooter video, but I will also put links to my second channel where I dump all the long painting and unedited modeling files, so you can watch a little more closely and see what I did to tackle certain features, or see what Chelsey did to paint certain parts. So check it out, links are down there, as well as affiliate links to some of the products we more frequently get questioned on, like the type of airbrush that Chelsey uses and the paint she uses for that, so those are down there as well. Okay, so we will close it out with putting these guys up on their shelf, and until next time, keep creating.